trips for, I think this is 23 years now. I've been running ski trips. Um, when I started doing this, I started this way back then, 2002, I think was the first year. And myself and my long-suffering ex-girlfriend, Meredith, some of you guys know Meredith Yeoman. She's great. She's level 4 and teaches a lot of courses and all that. And we went to Zermatt to work to coach for our friend Ken Ellis, who's been a coach along the escarpment for a long time. He actually brought a couple of athletes to the Olympics. And you want to go to Zermatt in October and, coach for me. I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'll do that. Like, that's great." And that first year I went, there's this little restaurant at the top of the glacier. It's actually on the Italian side of the border. And I was watching these two Swiss instructors drinking wine, two instructors drinking wine with two, late 20s, early 30s female clients. And I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And so yeah, the next year we brought 3 groups that first year to Zermatt on the glacier there. And we did a 4 or 5 years maybe on the Zermatt Glacier. And I used to call it my Swiss trip because I thought there's no way I'll ever do this anywhere else. And then a few of the clients that had come a few times to Zermatt said, well, is there anywhere else we can go? And then we started running trips to Chile. And that was, I think, 18 years ago was when we started going to Chile. And Chile's been fantastic. And then, we've done other trips everywhere. We do, every year we do Sunshine Village twice. We've been to Revelstoke. We've been to Japan. We're going back to Japan this year. Andorra, that was a big one last year. That's where me and Allison actually got married there, which was a great way because we had so many, friends and people we consider family that came along for that. It was the best thing ever. And yeah, in Hintertux, I started doing Hintertux because Zermatt was starting to get so costly to go for what we would get. Like literally, I had to charge almost twice what I used to charge, 15 years before that, because everything got more expensive. The hotel, the lift tickets, the rail transport, the food, everything just got so expensive. And it was just it was good, but it was just a simple glacier and not much to it. And we have a good friend named Cheto Tanakovic. And Cheto he's the head coach at Owl's Head Ski Club in Quebec. He's been there for over 20 years, and he's also the IT guy for the CSIA, uh, you know, year round kind of thing. And he always said you should really come to Hintertux. It's a great glacier. There's so many more options as far as where to stay. And so I said, yeah, let's do that. And the first year that we went to Hintertux was the year of the pandemic. Um, the Yeah, that was the first year, and that was a weird year because everything was shut down. The pandemic shut everything down in March, and then we couldn't do anything over that whole summer because this is when we had to social distance and you had to travel in your, what they call them, cells or
Bubbles.
bubbles, not cells. Cells, what I ended up in. But when we went there, we flew on this giant plane, and we were like a plane that hold like 300 people. There was maybe 30 people on the plane, and we were there on the glacier. There was nobody else there. It was a great, first trip. Where there was, I think, 5 of us on that trip that first year. And then, it was so good that because the glacier is huge. It's not like Zermatt where you only have a few T-bars.
I have some pictures later.
Yeah, we'll have some pictures later, but there's chairlifts, there's gondolas, there are T-bars, but there's a lot more options for that to go through. So now that we offer all these different trips, it's just a way to keep myself and my ski friends trying to ski as many weeks or months of the year that we possibly can. Okay. Let me clean that. Oh, this, yeah. Ali wants me to explain that I'm a level 4. I've been a level 4 ski instructor since I was 25, I think. Well, it was 2 days before my 26th birthday, but it's nice to say 25. Been a level 4 examiner for all those years. Ran all the programs in Ontario and the Atlantic region for the CSIA for over 18 years. And, things change, and I've owned and run ski schools, and it was just time to. I started running ski trips, and I liked it way more, because, teaching CSIA or any kind of certification course, there's, the higher the certification level, the more likely that people aren't going to be successful. And those unsuccessful people, like, they stay with you. It's almost like a doctor having to tell somebody you're not going to live, which is not the way it is, but people treat it that seriously. And the ski trips we run, it's all ski improvement. It's based on having fun. There's like-minded people. We get to go to different types of ski areas and different types of mountains, different snow conditions, and that's what we like to do. And Allison here, for those of you that don't know Allison, we've known each other for two
Decades.
long, no, for like 20-ish years. Allison, I had her on a level 2 course, CSIA course at Skyloft years ago, when I used to own the ski school and rental shop there. And we got along right away. And we've always stayed friends. Allison, you should maybe go on your level 3. She did that, passed her level 3, been on a level 4 course, has half of her level 4, teaches level 2 courses with PSIC, ran North Toronto Ski Club ski school for 8 years. And she does all this with having a, real full-time job in the fundraising sector. Is that how I say it?
Sure.
Industry?
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm a ski instructor, so yeah. So that's what I decided to do. Yeah. So this year's Hintertux trip, we used to do it the last week of November. Sorry, the last week of October for the first 3 years. And the first year we went, it was amazing. Like, we had so much snow, everything was open. And then they had a couple years where they had quite warm summers. And the glacier, all glaciers that, we still ski on, I don't think we're going to be able to ski on glaciers forever because they're all shrinking. But the Hintertux Glacier is still really good. So is the Zermatt Glacier. Those are the only two glaciers that are open year round on the planet. Both Hintertux and Zermatt, they close for 2 to 3 weeks every summer to do maintenance on the lifts and where the lift towers are stuck in the ice and everything else. But it's yeah, Hintertux is a unique place just because it's so big. We moved the dates for the Hintertux trip from the last week of October to the second week of November, just because it seemed like every year right after we left, the snow got really good the week or the second week after we left in November. So that's what we've done. This will be our second or third year going in November.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, third year going in November. And it does, just that extra couple of weeks, it does make a big difference. We do get lots of snow there. Where we'll talk about in a few minutes here where we land and how we get to the glacier. But you have to take these 3 trams up to get to the glacier, and the altitude difference is tremendous. And that's where you go from sort of green, brownish grass at the bottom to nothing but a giant glacier at the top.
And Sandy, the weeks, the 6 ski days, and we're skiing from the 9th to the 14th. So the 7th and 15th are sort of those travel.
Yeah, these travel days, that would be if you're leaving from Canada, right? Like, you leave on I think it's the Thursday night.
The 7th, yeah.
Yeah, Thursday the 7th. You fly overnight, we fly into Munich Airport, which is in Germany. And then, we'll talk about how we get from Germany to the glacier. But you sort of you leave at the night on the 7th, you get there on the 8th. and we're skiing on the 9th, which is a Saturday. And then we spend 6 days skiing. So our last day is Friday the
The ski day,
14th,
14th, yep, and then you leave on the 15th.
and then we leave on the 15th, and we get back on the 15th as well. Yeah. So, yeah, so this is, like I said earlier, it's our 5th trip to Hintertux. We just have a couple pictures here from previous trips. Yeah, it's 2020. That was our first year. Now, there was nobody there. Like it
We were
was
the only ones in the hotel.
yeah, literally we were the only ones in our hotel that week. It was, we're obviously being catered to by the hotel staff, which was great. But you could see how, I mean, they were happy that anybody was coming and taking any hotel room. The mountain was happy to have us there buying any kind of lift tickets because there just wasn't any.
It was the one bubble in 2020 where you could travel, and we literally left Canada the day before the European Union put a crackdown on Canadians coming, and then we left Hintertux the day before the entire European shut down skiing. So we were literally there for the 1 week of skiing in 2020 after the pandemic had hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our friend Cheto, the guy that I mentioned from Owl's Head, he's been bringing groups to Hintertux for over 20 years. He brings race kids there every year. And he came that year as well. We went the week before with Cheto, he came with us. But his group came in the night before we left, and they got 1 day of skiing, and then that was it for the whole time. So here's just a couple of different years when we've been there for the different groups. There's 2022, there's 2023, and here's our cat Luke Sky Whiskers. There's that was last year, 2024. That was me and Allie there. So the staff that I typically bring to Hintertux are Allie Hunter, Josh Foster, Nick Reeder, the guy I named my dog after, and myself. So those are the 4 staff that I've been using over the last 5 or 6 years for this.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in and talk a little bit about the mountain. It really is, as Sandy said, it's an expansive with a lot of terrain on 2 glaciers. It is located in the Austrian Alps, and it's directly south of Munich. So it's about a 3-hour drive once we land in Munich and get in the ground shuttles to head to the town of Finkenberg, which is on the route to the glacier. So a little bit about the glaciers. It is 2 glaciers, as Sandy talked about. The highest point is over 10,600 feet or 3,200 meters. So you will feel a little bit of that altitude. But what is great about that is that you are up in winter. The snow is fantastic. It is winter-like conditions. The glaciers are about 2.5 miles long, so there's a lot of skiable terrain. And in terms of the reliability of them, at their thickest point, 390 feet or 120 meters. So they are reliable. As Sandy says, they do shut down a little bit for maintenance. We've heard a rumor where they may shut down a little bit longer this summer just to preserve the glacier in an ecological effort to try to limit the volume of traffic on it while it is their warmest part of the year. But it would just be more of a pause versus a shutdown.
We'll say this, I'm just going to
Yeah.
interject. A few years ago, I think it was the 3rd year we went, I have good friends, regular clients, Serge and Claudette. If anybody's been on a bunch of my trips, they know them. And Serge had posted on Facebook, "Oh, look at the glacier." He's French. I'm doing my best French accent. "It is melting. That is going to be terrible skiing this year." And I reached out to Serge. I called him like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, you're killing me. I'm trying to get people to come on the trip, and you're saying this." And he says, "Oh, well, it looks terrible." I said, it's the middle of August and it's very warm there. It always comes back. And that year we had a fantastic snow year. And Serge called me back in like early October to say, "Is there any space for me and Claudette to come?" And I'm like, "No, there's not any space because it's filled up because the snow got very good." So that's the thing about glacier skiing or skiing on a glacier. it is like the winter. It's just like skiing right here at Blue Mountain or at Sunshine Village. The snow is great because it's snow. It's on top of, like what you just say, 30 meter, whatever it is,
Yeah,
deep,
390 feet deep.
you know, a deep glacier. But I know some of the people that are on the snow here, on the call here. I see Alex is on here, John O'Kane is on here, Jim on here.
Yeah, Jim.
Jim.
Or he was.
Anyway, you guys have all been to Hintertux with us, and I'm sure you can attest to the fact that the snow is actually really good there.
So the other, great thing of when we go, it is low traffic. It's off season, and if most of the people that are going this time of year are the racers, the athletes, the teams that are going to train and get an early start. They tend to get kind of cordoned off into their team lanes and areas where they're going to be practicing their gates. So that leaves the rest of the mountain to be really open for us, and so you don't find that it's like skiing in Europe where there's people zooming past you. Not much to say about the lift system other than it's completely modernized. There's 18 lifts on the glacier, mix of gondolas, chair lifts, bubble chairs, T-bars. And so what's great about this mountain is, you're not stuck on T-bars and pommel lifts with your legs getting sore, given it's the first ski trip of the year. There's a lot of places to sit and rest on gondolas and chair lifts. Got a couple of pictures here of the glacier. So this one picture looking, if you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you see two parallel T-bars running up, and you'll see the groomers on either side. Looking at the little tiny specks of people, you can just see how much terrain you have to really practice and hone in your skills. And likewise, on the far left-hand side of the screen, you've got a big swooping L-shaped run, few terrain parks in there. And if we look back, if we were standing on the top of that and look back across, this is the other side of the glacier. So again, more T-bars. And if you look to the far left of the screen, you can almost trace the gondola going up to the peak, bringing you right to the top to access all that terrain.
There's two gondolas there.
Yeah, and there's a chairlift as well. But there's just so much terrain. You can kind of see the ruts from the racers. So they'll typically be in like one section of the hill and they'll just be doing laps. So we can really avoid them and stay away from them.
But there's like sort of four main sections to the mountain.
Yeah.
Like those two that Ali just pointed out. There's this backside here that we're looking at. And that's, I mean, you can again look at the size of the little specks of the skiers on the left. That's a huge long run. That wasn't open the last 2 years, but hopefully it'll be open this year. And then on the other side, Ali, I think you have a picture of the chairlift.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a whole nother section way over there. I mean, it's so big compared to other places that are open, other glacial skiing areas that I've been to, and we've been to a few. Like we ran a trip to Sulden, which is where they have the first World Cup in Austria every November, and I mean it's just so much, and that's where they have the World Cup, and this place is just so much bigger than that.
Yeah, the 6 days you will not get bored. There's a lot of choice. And if you get snow like we did in our first year, then other spots open up and the mountain changes again. So a little bit about getting to the glacier every morning. We stay in a town village called Finkenberg. It's about a 20-minute drive from Hotel Nieuwert to the glacier. And the glacier road literally just ends at Hintertux. It doesn't drive through. So everyone heading on that road, going through the different villages, is driving up to ski. The shuttles that we have for the trip that get us from the airport to the hotel, we keep them. And your coaches, Coach Ali and Sandy, will drive those shuttles. So in the morning, you bring your boots in a boot bag, get on the shuttle, and because you're in for a 20-minute beautiful drive up to the glacier. And when you get to the base, we park a very short distance from the parking lot to the gondola station. And you can see it's green pastures. We are literally in autumn of Austria. And this kind of sequence of photos here from left to right show you the moving up the mountain. So we take the first gondola from the parking, which is the far left, to a mid station. Another gondola then takes us to the third photo, which is the snow, where we will then go inside, put our boots on, have a tea. It's where we also have lunch. And from this station, which is the summit, you have other gondolas to get us up to the chairlifts and the T-bars. So that's kind of your every morning, carry your boots into the shuttles, 20-minute shuttle ride 2 major gondolas to then put our boots on, and then we have access of the whole mountain. And here's that backside that Sandy was talking about. Heated bubble chair. And if you were, when you get to the top of this chair and you go to your right, there's a whole other spot with another 2 T-bars running to get you into more groomed terrain. And if you can kind of see off the top of this chair to the left, there's a bit of a bowl there, not groomed, but skied out. And when there is snow, you can also have a little bit of fun off-piste skiing here at the Hintertux Glacier.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah, I would say like the sort of main product of the trips that we run is the quality of the coaching staff. Now, I put myself in that mix as well. But I've been fortunate. I've had over 40 of the best level fours from across the country come and work on these camps with me. Um, like I say, the first 7 years I ran these camps, I ran CSIA certification courses on them, level 2 and 3, and level 1 and 2 coaching course certifications. But the problem with those, way I felt about that, like my numbers were great. We're getting, you know, 8, 9 staff, 10 staff coming on each week for like 3 weeks in a row. But the problem was, from my perspective, was you get these people that were so eager to get their certification level, and people coming to get their level 3 CSIA in particular, like that's a big jump from the level 2, as those of us that have gone through the system know. And the chance for success, especially when people haven't been on snow for several months, to hop on a course right away and then do their evaluation. Just I didn't feel good about it. So I made the decision, no more certification courses. And like I say, the numbers have gone down, but the vibe is 1,000 times better. Um, because yeah, there's no expectations other than everybody getting together, having fun, learning about skiing different terrain, skiing with like-minded people, with skiing in a group that is totally catered to what you need as a skier. Because there's some people that like to ski faster than others, some people like to ski slower than others, some people get they're more aggressive, and some people want to just have a great time and ski and work on their skiing at their own rate. The size of the groups are small. They're always 5 to 6 people, sometimes as small as one person. That's happened before. We've had some, misunderstanding. That's whenever somebody comes on a trip, those of us that have been on trips, I send out a questionnaire to sort of get an idea of not just, what certification level you have, but what your objectives are to get out of the trip, and what your aerobic level is, as far as activity. We have skiers that, like, I saw John O'Kane is on this call, and John's one of the fittest guys I know, and John's like what, well into his 70s now. Maybe not that old, but no, but John, John is a like super skillful skier, and he can, I mean, he's fitter than, most of the staff that come on the camps to teach, just because he cares about his own fitness level. So the groups are very small, and that makes it, I know typically when most people take uh, ski training sessions, there's anywhere from, if it was a CSI or PSIC course, there might be, 7 or 8 people per group. If you're taking a training session with a ski school, you can probably double those numbers. And the nice thing about, the way that I run my camps, um, what we just talked about, the pandemic a few slides ago, and the year of the pandemic, everything shut down in Ontario for skiing. Everything. Right after, I think, New Year's Eve, or sorry, Christmas Eve was the last day we could ski, and they shut everything down right until Family Day. uh, and what am I going to do? So I just booked out to Mount St. Anne, where you could ski. Everybody had the distance. It was before the vaccines and all that stuff. But I could go there, and I had one group for a week at a time. Some people stayed for all 5 weeks. Some people came 1 week and left, whatever. But every single person that did that said, it was so much more beneficial to be with one person, one coach for 5 or 6 days in a row, because you can really build on something over that time. So that's the way I run all my camps now. When you come, whether it's to Chile for 6 days or to Sunshine for five, whatever, 5 days in a row really gives us the opportunity to start on something, build on something, and the key to making that work is making sure I have the best staff possible, which I know I do. There's another group. This wasn't the first year, that was a few years after. So yeah, the staff that I have, I mean, they're from all over the place. Like just looking at the picture here on the left, there's Josh, myself, and Nick. So you got a guy from Kelowna, BC, a guy from the Blue Mountains, Ontario, and a guy from Cornwall in England. And I met Nick years ago, um, teaching courses in Andorra. I actually was one of Nick's level 4 trainers and evaluators, and he's a great guy. Like he's great with people. He's super funny, and that's what you want. You want somebody. You obviously want somebody that can ski really well. You want somebody that can teach really well, even more. But on top of that, or maybe that trumps both those things, are people that are just fun to hang around, you can laugh with, you can enjoy your time with, and make good memories with.
And it's really important because, on these trips, you're eating dinner together, you're having lunch together. It really, the coaches really become part of the group.
Yeah, we're with each other all the time from when you get there until you leave. And the way I run my camps is we stay in the same hotel or same condo units, depending on where we go. We all have dinner together every day. We eat breakfast. We all have lunch together. So it's, you're all in on these trips. It's a full day session. By the time we get skiing in Hintertux, I know it says here 9 a.m., but by the time we get our boots clicked on and start sliding, it's 20 after 9, 9:30 at the latest. We ski till 11:30 so we can beat the lunch rush. We come in, we have a fast lunch, like, half an hour would be a short time, 45 minutes would be a long time. And then we get out skiing again. And as far as what time we ski till, that really depends on the longevity of the group. Like I like to say we ski till 2 every day. The coaches will stay out as long as people want, but the lift does shut down at 3, so we do have to head down by that time. Every day we do video. Like anybody that has skied with me over the last forever knows that I always have a video camera with me, and we'll take 2 or 3 videotape runs each day, and I send those videos out to each individual by email or airdrop or whatever. And I put a list. These are the things that we were working on. These are the things you're doing good, and maybe here are some opportunities that we're going to work on or continue to work on tomorrow to really bring it up to where what you can possibly get out of this trip together. And all the staff do that. Yeah. Here's another group shot.
Okay, let me jump in and talk a little about travel. So over the years, I think, when you first started, Sandy, you would book the flights, and then you had people that wanted different options, coming in early, staying later, first class, or using points. And so basically you've divested that to the travelers. Picking your flights and when you're going in is on you, but we do kind of give you a guidance of when to get there. So I think I've noted there is a typo on this. What we're looking for air arrival is that whether you're coming in early to get over the jet lag, you're meeting the group in Munich on November 8th by 11 a.m. in arrivals. And so that allows people that are there already, or if you're coming in that morning, then we group up, and at that point we get into the shuttles and we drive from the airport right to hotel in Finkenberg. As we said before, the shuttle vans, they're driven by our coaches, they're included, and we use the same ones every day as we drive up the mountain to the glacier. Departing same idea. We will get the entire group back to Munich by 9 a.m. on November 15th. So when you are booking your flights, we really recommend that you look somewhere early afternoon, 1 p.m. Give yourself that 3-hour international for check-in. Don't expect to get to the airport any earlier than 9 a.m. On the 15th. So there's a quick look at the shuttles. They're nice, they're picturesque. If people do have a little bit of road sickness, let us know. We'll make sure that you get to the passenger seat. But we'll be taking you and all your gear. And as I said, it's about a 3-hour drive through Germany into Austria. It is a beautiful drive. In a few pictures here that shows you just the countryside. So we're driving the Autobahn, and then as we get into the little towns and villages, there's some great pictures to be had, the Jersey cows. And as we get closer, you start to see the Alps. And it's, those blue skies. I mean, it's the weather has been pretty amazing the 5 years that you've been going, Sandy.
Yeah, reliable.
And as you can see, green pastures, autumn in Austria, and then winter on the glacier.
Yeah. So the hotel that we stay at, Cheto, our friend Cheto from the CSIA, he's the one that he had been staying at this hotel for a few years. This one is in Finkenberg, Austria. It's called the Hotel Neuert. Neuert is the way you say it. And yeah, it's great. Like it's been in the same family for 160 or 170 years. 180 years, sorry. And yeah, the rooms are great. Like anybody that's already been there and has seen it, they know, the way they build things in Europe is definitely different than the way they build things in Collingwood.
But it's been in the family for those generations.
Yeah, I mean, Martin, that's the guy's name that runs it now. And his dad, Martin's dad, whose name escapes me, he's one of the chefs there now. So his son has sort of taken it over from him, and he runs everything. And Martin would be maybe 35 or 40 years old. But yeah, the suites are the rooms are great. The doors are so thick and heavy, and it's amazing how like everything fits perfectly. And
there's balconies in every room.
yeah,
So
every room has a balcony, which is nice.
the bathrooms are completely renovated, so you don't need to bring any of your hair dryers or soaps. That's linens and towels.
Hair dryers.
And then the wellness spa. Make sure you bring your swimsuit because there are saunas and steam baths that you can use. This is a view from one of the balconies.
Yeah, this is a view from this is from one of the rooms that we had one year. This is a church that's right across, overlooking the road that drives up to Hintertux. So yeah, so we, that's that's kind of neat there because you can hear the church bells ring every
quarter hour.
Every quarter hour.
But they do stop, I think, by 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah. Gong, gong. Yeah. So as far as the food and drink, we do our, what's included with the trip is breakfast and dinner at the hotel. Lunches we do on our own up at the cafeteria. And the cafeteria has a great selection. Like I'm not a big lunch eater myself, but I can get a sandwich or a Red Bull if I want one for lunch, whereas some people get giant, heaps of food. Yeah, I can't eat that much. But anyway, the lunches cost anywhere from 10 to 20 euros, so 15 to 30 bucks, depending on how much food you're getting. The food at the hotel is fantastic. Every menu that they have has, 2 protein dishes. Is that right? Protein?
Yeah, 2 meat
proteins.
proteins.
And 2 meat proteins and a vegetarian option. And there's also a big giant salad bar that we go through before we sit down and have dinner. And the way that we get our dinner at, when we're in Austria is when we get our breakfast, we have our dinner options there for us. So we just fill out what we each want to have for dinner so that when we come down and sit down for dinner at 6 or 6:30, whatever it is, they're like right there. And that way we're not, the first night takes a little bit longer because we're ordering and then they have to make it. but then from there every night on, it's a lot more slick and efficient.
Yeah, so like salad bar, main course, there's usually a dessert, and bar service if you want it.
Yeah, here's the is this a breakfast?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the breakfast sort of layout that they have. So this is one side of where we have, you can see, it's mostly breads, toast. I can't really see what's on there, but
Yeah, and the other side's all your cheeses.
is that breakfast or dinner?
No, it's breakfast.
Oh, that's breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the mirroring this is another full banquet buffet of your meats, your cheeses, your yogurts, your
Cereals, coffees.
yeah. And then you can also do eggs to order, how you'd like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is up on the glacier, this cafeteria they have, it's absolutely vast and expansive. We come in at 11:30 for lunch, so we beat the rush because even though it's not busy like Whistler Mountain, this place will fill up by, quarter after 12. So we go in every day at 11:30 for lunch, and that way we know we're not going to have to stand in line to get our food. There's tons of options to get everything from pastas to sandwiches to salads. Yeah, so everything. Like there's so many options up there to get whatever you want.
And then I think there's a couple of restaurant options too. And you guys have done that a couple of days where you've chosen not to do the cafeteria, but to go and do a sit down. But it's it is impeccable. So in terms of, the skiing, if you say you're off the mountain by 3 back down to the hotel by, let's say, 4 p.m. There's lots of things that you can do and should be aware of because the area is beautiful. So we're 4 kilometers up from Meyerhofen, which is a small town with lots of little boutiques and shops and bistros. And if a group wanted to go and do that, we can always commandeer one of the shuttles and get a coach to drive us down, or it is walkable. We've had many of our trippers walk down. We've also done the optional, let's go into Innsbruck for a day or a half day. That does require taking a bit of time off from skiing. So we really kind of leave it up to see what the group wants to do while we're there. But this picture was taken last year. The group decided to take a half day and go to the Christmas market at Innsbruck. And Innsbruck's about a 45-minute drive, so pretty easy to get to. And if you haven't been, it's lovely, especially Old Town, which is the photo on the right, to wander through the streets, take photos, grab a bite to eat. The other great thing about the area that we're in, and I don't know if I have a photo here, is there's lots of little pubs. So this is the coaching staff having a drink at the bottom of the glacier. So a lot of outdoor spots to have an après drink. Our hotel has a lovely little bar. And then just up from our hotel, there is a grocery store that you can pick up snacks, wine, beer. And as I said, like every room has a balcony, so you can also sit and enjoy the bells of the church and sometimes the parade of cows as the farmers are moving them up or down the village. For those that want to stretch their legs after a ski day, there are some beautiful walking trails. There's a 300-year-old covered bridge. There's a couple of churches. And so again, Ottoman Austria, bring your walking shoes to walk around. You can rent bikes. I know a few people have done that and gone on some biking. But it really is just, there's a lot to explore even after we're on the ski hill and you're back in time to have a quick shower before dinner at 6:30.
Yeah. There's also a thing we haven't talked about. There's a really nice bar right inside the hotel. Like typically, like we go down for dinner. We meet in the bar at 6. This is my memory serves. We meet in the bar at 6. If you don't drink, you can get a Diet Pepsi or whatever. But that's where people like to have a drink and catch up about their day if they weren't in the same group. If they want to bring a drink into the dining room, they can do that. There's Martin's father, he yodels, so he's usually in there yodeling away to entertain us. But yeah, it's a nice way to sort of wrap up the day before dinner.
So in terms of what to bring, and Sandy will, on all the trips gets, does reach out to everyone once you're confirmed, because each trip's maybe a little bit different. But when we think about Hintertux, the one thing that is different is If you didn't want to travel with your skis, the rentals are plentiful and they are high-end rentals. We've had travelers from the US who haven't wanted to bring their skis and they've rented every day a different pair of Stokelys, hand-tuned. But what we do recommend is if you are bringing skis, both on piste and off piste, if you're only going to bring one pair of skis, bring the on-piste skis, and you can rent the off-piste if we get the snow. There is a tuning room in the hotel, and Sandy will bring a European iron so we can plug that in, and bring some files and guides so we can help you tune your skis. The On the glacier, it is cool, so layers are your best friend. You will see winter temps, but the sunshine is pretty consistent. So that sunscreen, eyewear, goggles that can deal with the sunlight. And I think just the only other thing I would say here is know that there are après activities, so swimsuits, hiking, if you're interested in the bike rentals, the shopping trips, like just, that it isn't just on and off the snow. There is some other things to do. So prepare for that. And then just like anything, power converter for Europe, Euros. And yeah, Hintertux is 6 hours ahead of Toronto time. So just also in your planning, there's a little bit of that time difference.
Yeah. Okay, here's bad news. This is what the trip costs. The difference between a single room and a double room, that's just what it costs me. It's actually a little bit less than what it costs me for the upgrade because, in Europe, just like, we're on a trip to Japan this year coming in, you know, they expect two people to go in a room no matter what, whether you're married or just two buddies or two people traveling together. They base everything on two people going in the room. So that's what the increase is. So that's the price before HST. I've got to charge HST so I don't go to jail. And there's a 10% discount if this is paid by September 1st. And that's only because I get a discount from the hotel if I pay things ahead of time, that far ahead of time. So this includes the accommodation, the lift passes for the week that we're there, the coaching every day, the breakfast and the dinners, and the cost of the ground transfers for getting from the airport to Hintertux and back every day. Okay? Yeah. Oh yeah. New this year. Um, the way that I take payment, I don't take credit cards at this point. I'm just not that big of a company to experienced the necessity to do that yet. Um, we had last spring in Andorra, we had a couple great people. They've been on a bunch of trips before, and they were already in Italy, and they were just going to meet us in Andorra. And she called me, the wife called me 4 days before she was going to meet us in Barcelona and said, Sandy, we can't go. Her husband had gotten fell ill with something, like he woke up, didn't know where he was, is confused. So they decided to err on the side of caution and come back to Canada. They said, well, can we get our money back? I can't get your money back. I can give you money back for things that I haven't paid for. But as far as the hotel, like the hotel wasn't totally full, so I couldn't do that. So she said, shit, man, if only you had taken credit cards, I would have been able to claim it. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I reached out to Bennett Carter, who is at Coach Allie's husband. He's a financial broker or investment manager, but he also deals with insurance. And I talked to him about getting this type of insurance if you're not buying stuff on your credit card for the whole trip. So he took some time to put that together, and we do have stuff available for Canadian citizens only, but that's trip cancellation, trip interruption. You get your medical insurance through it, and depending on what you need, like trip cancellation, that's the biggest one. I think for like a $6,000 trip, it would cost you 400 and something dollars. But at least that way, if whatever happens, you decide not to go, or you get catch some illness, or somebody passes away, and whatever it is, you can cancel and you can get that back. So that's new to trips this year. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So, I know we don't have a ton of people on the call right now, but does anybody have any questions, input, insight?
You should be able to just come off mute too.
Hey, Sandy. Hey, Ellie.
Hi, John.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good. I see some faces I know in there. Hey, Doc Fu.
Yeah, Lester's there.
Yeah. So I've been skiing and training with Sandy, I guess, since about 2005 when I got my CSI level 2 from, and have been on Sandy's trips to Quebec, a whole bunch of them, to Sunshine, a number of times to Revelstoke, to Chile, to Andorra most recently. And so when I was in pursuit of my level 3 and my level 4, Sandy was the one who trained me through all those years and got me to those places, which I thank him for. But now I'm past all that, and now I go on these ski training trips because it's just a great vacation for me, and great people. The accommodations are always first class. The food is, well, way too much. Uh, but you're having the opportunity to get out there and ski with people who are really passionate about skiing and first class trainers all around. And so while I can't make Hintertux this year, still hoping to come back. I just came off the Andorra trip in April, and I'm lined up to do the trip to Hakuba in 2026. So I'm looking forward to Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, for anyone who's never been on one of these trips, I highly recommend them. They're the trip of a lifetime, and if you do it once, it's like an addiction. You're going to be back to do them over and over again.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, John, because so many of the people that come on trips, rarely do they come on one only. I don't know if anybody's only come on one only. We've got Jim McElroy. He's coming this year again to Chile. He always comes for 2 weeks to Chile.
California Jim.
California Jim, yep. And he's bringing one of his buddies this year too. But he's coming for two, and this is his 8th year doing trips with us. And he's come to Mount St. Anne,
Yeah,
to Andorra. He's come to Chile for this will be his 7th year in a row.
he was in Revelstoke with us as well.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I'm proud of that because like he says, he used to go on trips with other outfits, as he calls them. And he says it's just the way that we run it and what he gets out of it. It's a lot. He enjoys it, and that's great. So yeah, thanks for that. Yeah. Anybody have any other questions? Lester, you popped in. I appreciate you being here.
I don't think I have any questions. I'm just looking forward to this as my next trip.
All right. Well, we'll see how you like. This is Dan. I just met Dan last week, I think. Yeah, I went
Yeah.
over to Squire John's, which is right around the corner, and met Dan with my dog. And yeah, so but this is Dan's first trip with us, and yeah, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
They've got a ton of snow already, so it's only gonna get better.
So, Sandy, do you have any idea of how many people are going?
I don't for this one here. Like the deadline isn't until, was it
September 1st.
September 1st? Yeah. So they tend to fill up that last week before we go.
Right.
Like,
Well,
no, sorry, that last week before the deadline.
deadline.
Sorry, that was
Yeah.
what I meant to say. The biggest year we had in Hintertux was
second year.
the second year. We had 4 groups, and then we had 3 groups for a couple years. In the last 2 years, it's been 2 groups. But what can I say? We come back from Hintertux, we have a week, and then we go to Sunshine. So I think since we've added more trips to to the schedule. Like now we're doing 9 trips a year, I think it is. Okay, sorry, the dogs are hopping around here. And you know, I knew that adding more trips, it would dilute the volume of people we would have going on each trip, because there's only so many people that I can draw from. But yeah, I mean, it keeps me and the staff skiing as much as possible, and we get to go to
Like right now
places.
you're kind of hoping it's you and Allie, like you and Allie will be the coaches.
Yeah,
for
me and
trips.
Allie for sure. Like I'd like to get three groups for that, for Hintertux, but you know, we don't know. Like this, you know, again, this year we've added new this year, or back this year, is Japan in January, and we're doing Finland in April on top of Andorra, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping, I'll say optimistically 3 groups. I can definitely say there'll be at least 2 groups, and yeah.
Good. And payment by the 1st of September, before the 1st of September.
Yeah, that's just to get a 10% discount. It's just
Right.
that's because if I give the hotel a balloon payment, then they give me a better rate.
Right.
Yeah. And that's like that for
Every trip.
almost every trip. Yeah. Yeah. It's the hotel that makes, you know, and plus don't forget you know, it's different for Chile, where I have a separate food company that comes in and cooks our food. But all the other places that we go, the hotels are where we have a, you know, half board, which is breakfast and dinner. So if I pay up front, then they have their money and they give me a bit of a discount, right? So
Right. What about are we supposed to have visas to go to the European Union, Sandy? I think so, right?
no, it's still, I don't think it's
Not
yet.
But I mean, we'll definitely keep watching that. We've been watching that for Chile, watching that for Japan, and you know, certainly let people know. But as of right now, there's been no changes from last year that we're aware of.
Yeah, like I was told, you know, I was in Hakuba, Japan this last January, and what I was told there was that this coming year, like 2026, we'd all have to have visas. That's bullshit. You don't need them yet.
Well,
Like for the way things stand right now, we don't need them. And if it was to be something that they would introduce, for sure it'd be something that we would have time to coordinate and get one. Because all it is, you know, paying $100 or whatever it is to have that little, you know, stamp in your passport to say that, you know, you've paid it and you can enter.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm definitely interested. I'll probably be coming.
Nice. There we go. We've got a few people already. I mean, right now I think there's,
well, Icy's on the call, and Icy and Catherine are.
yeah, I think there's 7 people. Icy and Catherine are 2, but there's 5 others that have said they're coming. So, and they're people that have been on that trip before or other trips as well. So they're people that I trust. But yeah, that's, you know, this is sort of the first, you know, again, this is the first time we've done a second info session for a destination. And you know, it's just every year we learn as we go, and we want to include that information, any price changes or new options, like the insurance that's now available to us. And get out of here, Cat. And you know, just keep it updated so that it's recorded. We can put it up on the website so people can view it at their leisure. Yeah.
Good. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Well, guys, again, I know this wasn't a huge turnout, but that's no problem. We knew it wasn't going to be as big as, you know, like what was the biggest one we did? Was it Andorra?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did Andorra. Like, you know, the trip that we did to Andorra, I know John was on that. Who else was on it? Alex was on it. Anyway, that
Dan Hamden.
and no, Dan wasn't
No,
there.
Dan Hamden.
Is Dan Hampton on this?
Yes.
Oh, Dan was on there, yeah. Yeah, that, I mean, that was a trip that I've wanted to run for over 20 years, and last year was the first year that we could run it. And that's I love that place. Like John, how was Andorra?
Outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had my I got married my current wife there. Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yeah, no, Hintertux is a great way to start. If anyone's got skiing goals that you want to kind of get a head start on, I couldn't recommend it. Actually, you had one of your guys last year go on and complete his level 4 last season, and he started his training at Hintertux.
Mhm.
So it has been a successful recipe for people to get
Who's that?
Harry.
Oh, Harry Burke. Yeah,
to
yeah,
get,
yeah.
to get their season started right. And like, you know, just from those pictures, like when you think you're halfway down the run, you still have probably 100 turns left to really reinforce what you're trying to change in your skiing. So, you know, from a ski improvement, but also if you do have some big goals like your level 2, your level 3, it is a great